right in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe me, don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe in me, yeah.
Let's get it.
Oh my.
Oops.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
A little reminiscent on watching the show from last night. Just some thoughts.
Okay. So I used to think like watching certain other like YouTube content creators that would like call for cast members to like go to prison and stuff. I'm like, all right, like, let's dial it back. Let's not get so worked up. Yesterday, I was like ready with my pitchfork. I'm like, let's gather the town folk. Like, I am ready to bust this dude's door down. This guy is a criminal. He's a bad person. That's the thing. He's a bad person. And maybe he'll never go to jail for any of the crimes he's committed. But like, he's going to have to meet his maker one day. And he's going to have to answer for the way he's treated people. And he is not going to be happy.
Yeah. It's sad to watch, though, because it's like I came into this. I'm not going to lie. I never really thought Cody was a good guy to start. So he didn't really have that, hurdle to jump with me. So I never thought he was a good guy. But in this, and I'm going to say this. In this episode, he was in full throw of his true villain arc. And we could say, well, maybe he's making adjustments because he's trying to spice up the show. But again, I keep falling back to in the back of my mind that maybe it's the new production team that's actually releasing a lot of the stuff that he's been saying behind the scenes that they've just been editing out, because the person who used to run it, Tim, when he was looking at it, was probably like, this is going to make Cody look bad. And he already says enough stuff on his own that he looks terrible. The stuff that we actually release, he looks terrible. This is going to make him look insane. And I think that that's kind of where we are when I watch it.
And now I am fully convinced at this point, there was no need to bring up my sister wife's closet. That is not pertinent to this family's storyline whatsoever. Production making them relive that and hash that out again. I'm fully convinced production hates Cody and Robin, and they're just exposing them for the trash that they are. They are trash people. They are people that I wouldn't ever associate with. And I feel bad because last week I watched McKelty's Patreon, and I had made one of my videos last week. I had said, I hope none of his kids ever watch this episode, because to have to hear your dad say that they'll never cut off Robin to have a relationship with you is awful. But then McKelty watches it and she is like, well, I would always pick my husband over my kids. And I'm like, girl, missing the point, like totally missing the point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a weird place. Like, I think that it's already kind of a weird place where you would even think that has to be a choice that you have to make. That you have to make a choice between your paramour and your children, especially when you share children. It's not like you're saying, well, I would choose my kids over this dude I just met or this guy I just started kicking it with. You made children together. So
Mhm.
you're so why like I wouldn't want like my wife, I wouldn't want her to say, "Oh, I would choose you over your kids," because
Yeah.
part of the reason why I picked the partner I picked is because I knew she was if something were to happen to me, she's going to take care of my kids. Like I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about my children. So
And
when
I
you
think
say stuff like that, that defeats the whole purpose of us being together in the first place.
yeah, and I think because I will get pushback in some of my comments from time to time because I'm pretty much team always pick your kids.
Mm,
And I will get people, and it's not really pushback, but people saying things like, "Hey, your kids will eventually like move out of your house. You're going to be with your spouse forever, presumably. You want to nurture that relationship." I get it. I do get it. But we are assuming that like both relationships are healthy relationships when
mm,
we're talking about like Cody. First of all, to my knowledge, none of these kids have ever said, "Daddy, you have to choose us or Robin." They've accepted Robin that she comes with the package. They just don't like how they see that their dad has changed over the years. But
right.
being that we are not talking about healthy relationship dynamics, then I don't subscribe to the theory always pick your spouse because that's not a healthy dynamic. Cody and Robin do not have a healthy relationship. This,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, at the end of the day, for him, it's not so much that he has to pick his kids. It's just that he's so unstable that in order for the kids to have a relationship with him, it's not enough that they accept Robin. They have to adore and worship her the same way he does. So
Mhm,
he's in a situation where he prostrates himself in front of her. So he expects his kids to get down on their hands and knees right behind him to worship at the altar of Robin. And if they don't, or if they refuse to do it, or if they say, "Look, I have my own mother, I have my own people, my own stuff, and I have a little bit of dignity, then I'm not going to do that for somebody," then all of
mhm,
a sudden it's a problem. Like, "Oh, you
mhm.
think you better than me?" You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's the crazy, like it's just crazy sauce all mixed up together. They just put
Yeah.
crazy in a bottle and shuck it the hell up. So I
I
think that's
would
kind of
like
where
to
it is.
recognize the MVP of definitely this episode, maybe this season. This realtor guy who got commission off of this motherfucker and was able to call him Frizzy on national television. An icon. An
Right.
icon.
Yeah, the realtor, I'm sure when he showed up, was thinking to himself, "What have I got myself into?
That poor guy.
What was I thinking?" And I do think that there is a point where when you listen to what Cody said, because the first thing that the realtor started talking about when he ran into Cody and how they met, he had mentioned that Cody contacted him because Cody was interested in some of the listings that the realtor had.
Mhm.
So that's Cody looking for the house that he was going to buy, like eventually a $2.1 million house. He was looking to get out of the McMansion. That's
Mhm.
how he met that realtor, and that's how that
Mhm.
realtor came in. And this is way before like the child support lawsuit and all that other stuff. Like, so this is
Right.
crazy. And technically, this is even before Garrison had passed. So this is sometime around like I guess maybe that March,
Well,
April.
this was, I think, like, because Christine still had her tree up in,
Uh,
so I'm thinking it was like December, maybe
January.
early January 2024. But we're getting really close to when
Mm,
Garrison passed. So,
right.
and Cody is just like, I, d- I don't even have words. I really don't. I'm honestly like, we all make, like you and I, right? We make videos and we speculate on what we think is going on behind the scenes.
Mm,
To have it literally like spelled out in this episode, that Cody and Robin have been running scams for decades. It's unreal. And yeah, it makes me look at Christine, Janelle, and Meri, and it makes me go, dude, what the fuck, man? Like Meri, come on. Like, if I'm Leon and I'm seeing, I would put, honestly, like if I'm Leon, I would have put Meri in a conservatorship. Like this, like Meri is like not able to make like financial decisions for herself. That's like the level of naive and misdirected Meri is.
Right.
Funneling money after money after money, seeing Robin driving, they're driving Mercedes, they're driving fancy cars, they have art on the walls, and you're having to pay for your kids' college, you're having to pay for your kids' car, you're having to pay for all of these things that supposedly were going to come out of this family fund. And then Cody, when they ask him about it, this is Cody 101. This is his playbook, right? If it's a question that's going to make him look like a dumbass, or if it's a question that's going to expose his con, he's just going to tell you he doesn't want to talk about it.
Right.
So when they bring this up to Cody, he says, it's water under the bridge. I don't want to talk about it. We had 18 kids. Meri got her wet bar.
Right. Well, I wanted to talk about the wet bar situation.
Okay.
Because they said they made a big production, and this is how the relationship between Cody and the production team worked out. Meri made a huge production about wanting to get the wet bar and get the wet bar. She had to have the wet bar, but if she got the wet bar, they were also going to get the pantry, and they were going to get an extra room in the house. That is part of the wet bar, because you can't just separate it out according to the builder. This is just how, new construction works. You couldn't separate it out. If you remember that conversation. But when you listen to Robin talk, Robin also got a wet bar in her house. Robin also got the extra room and the pantry in her house, and they never talked about it. But then you say, well, Meri got her wet bar. Yeah, but Robin also got a wet bar, and she got her backyard completely refinished. If you look at, even when they were doing the, they had one of the drones up doing the survey of the cul-de-sac or whatever, they still have dirt in the back of those other three homes. Like Robin was the only one who had grass in the back of her house and the gazebo and all that. She didn't pay for that.
No.
So what are we talking about? Like, you're saying like Meri took so much, and oh my goodness, she only had one child. So how's she going to take all that? If she's still kicking in money, one, two, even if she's not kicking in money, the fact that you did so much more for Robin, that balances the damn scales. You know what I mean? That balances the scales out. So I don't know what they were like. I don't know what they talking about.
And I'm glad that we're having these conversations now. I'm grateful for best friend Jen. I still don't know why Jen blocked me on Instagram. I've seen some of the posts she's made on Reddit, and I would love for her to unblock me, because I support. I don't know what I did to piss her off, but I support her. I was loving her this episode, but how did Meri get to this point where she is simultaneously making tuition payments for Leon's college and putting money into this family fund that allegedly is for kids' education and cars and things like that? Right. And Meri kind of made it seem like maybe Cody was paying for other kids out of that fund. Nuh-uh. Hunter, Garrison, and Peyton all have military GI bills to go to college on. I don't. Madison started school but didn't finish. which is fine. Like, no shade there. I think so did McKelty. I know Aspen graduated.
Right. And Logan graduated.
Logan graduated. I'm not sure how many of these other kids had their, I don't think any of them had their tuition paid for out of this family fund except for Robin's kids.
Right. Well, here's the thing. You know, I'm kind of in that camp where if this is what Mary agreed to do, you know, God bless her. You got to say something though. Like, you got to say something. What is driving me crazy when I watch this, and we can even talk about, like, well, let me just do the super chats and then we'll get into the show. But
thank you guys so much for being supportive while we're like firing on all.
right.
It's like,
about to cut loose.
Short circuiting.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, it was insane. Last night was crazy.
Yeah.
But Susie Q with the $9.99 super chat. Holla at your boy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I knew that Mary was paying way more. This is why I wanted to pull up more than she should have. I was just disappointed that Mary didn't listen to Janelle. Like, Janelle has nothing to lose by warning Mary.
And you know what I appreciate about best friend Jen is when Mary talks about the conversation that she has with Janelle, and Mary's like, yeah, I didn't really believe her. Jen looks at her like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, what? Like, Mary, what?
Because she's still in the trusting mode. Then
Yes.
we had Jenny P.
Thank you so
$5
much.
super sticker. Putting a stick on a clank. Thank you so much for that. Kate with the $4.99 super chat. James, your live was what we all needed last night. You need to do the tell-all. No offense to Suki, but you won't let this nonsense slide. Yeah, last night I was on one, so we had.
I heard. I was just chatting with some of my Facebook moderators, and one of them was watching your live from last night, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, James is going to town."
Yeah, we were cutting down some trees yesterday. We were
clearing
some space. But because it's just crazy. But we'll get into it.
Yes.
It'll be far more composed than last night, hopefully. But yeah.
Or not. I like uncomposed.
Right. It might be a little uncouth.
Yes.
Elizabeth Murphy with the $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. As well as Kika Lika with the $5 super chat. I have 0 words for how dumb Cody made himself look with the realtor. I'm glad Mary has Jen. Glad she's telling the truth finally. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Let me give you guys a little something, and then we're going to get into the foolishness, because it's foolishness. It is total foolishness. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. But yeah, so let's start it off with we'll talk about Meri and Jen, because that was the first scene, in fairness. But let's talk about Meri and Jen sitting on that porch having a conversation about Coyote Pass. Mary's out there with a new pup, a little new fur baby, and she's talking to Jen. Dog was super cute. I appreciate that. I'm a dog person, so I like dogs. I guess I'm growing on cats a little bit, but yeah, I'm originally a dog guy.
I have a cat. I like my cat, but I'm not a cat person.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel cats are they're the harbingers of the devil, so you gotta watch them. They're cool. But completely in the dark. Mary came out and said, kind of a whole thing where she was completely in the dark about what was going on as far as Coyote Pass. And to be honest with you, the entire narrative about them not understanding what's going on Coyote Pass and the attitude that Cody has with regard to informing them about what's going on Coyote Pass. For instance, one of the statements that Cody made is, I've been talking to all the right people. When he was asked about the thing, he said something to the effect of, I don't want to do you any favors. Don't feel like doing it. I don't do any fucking favors. Like, if it's my money, it's not a favor if I'm asking about my money, for you to tell me about what's going on with my investment, right? And then the final one I'll do, and then I'll cut you loose, is I won't hold you. is the one where he said, I can't even find this statement, but it was something to the effect of, uh, I'll let you know when it involves you or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? You know what
Oh
I'm
my
talking
God.
about?
Yes. And the fact that still to this day, and I get it, I have to believe that we are still dragging this along because this is a storyline and the show must go on.
Mm.
Because I think what's so frustrating is these are not dum-dums we're talking about. Meri, Janelle are two smart, successful business women who know how to earn a dollar, they know how to keep a dollar, they know how to save a dollar. So I think that's part of what's so maddening. If you told me Robin lost her life savings in like a crypto scheme, I would not be shocked, right? I would not be shocked. It would shock me if you told me that about Janelle or Meri. And that's what I feel like I'm watching here. I feel like I'm watching them get swindled and they're just like they're throwing good money after bad.
Mm.
And it's maddening. And at this point, Meri and Janelle, you've been divorced, Meri says, for over a year. At what point do you say, enough, motherfucker? Like, let's figure this out. I don't care if you feel like you're doing me a favor. I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. We have this tie and we need to figure this out. Put on your big boy panties, Cody, and grow the fuck up.
Right. And that's the craziest part about it is that, like, I'm trying to be a Christian. Look, I fill myself with the Holy Spirit. Look, I'm just saying this. The one thing I can't tolerate, and I said it last night, at the end of the day, I think the fan base, I know me, I'm speaking for me. Part of the reason why I fixate on the Coyote Pass project, as well as the other investment that these ladies have made into the relationship, is because I can look at that and that's a tangible number that we can assess as far as quantifying how much they've actually invested into this family. Whereas the emotional investment, the time investment, the fact that they've sacrificed their bodies, their wombs, and their lives, jeopardized their lives in some instance for this man, that can actually be quantified as far as like, okay, you owe them $10,000 because she carried a baby to term and she didn't make it. I can't quantify that. It's terrible and it is a story and it's something that we could talk about. But when we start talking about these dollars and cents, and I listen to him in spite of everything that they've given up and contributed to the family, when you deal with him, none of it matters. None of it matters. He's sitting there acting like, okay, yeah, I was with you for 30 years. You guys have been throwing money into my bank account for 30 freaking years, going to work. Christine worked when she was pregnant. She worked overnight when she was pregnant so she could carry your baby to term. You bring your girlfriend in, she doesn't work a day in her life because, hey, I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. But then you turn around, in spite of all that, you turn around and act like these women didn't do anything. You act like they sat on their ass and did jack shit, fuck all, when you were sitting around there doing whatever you wanted to do. They supported you in all your foolishness. They supported you in everything that you were trying to accomplish. They backed you up. And the reason why you can sit here and look at Janelle, Christine, and Meri be financially successful while you're falling apart with Mr. Oh, over there, I got a bunch of businesses that failed. I had to mothball because they was all failing. The reason why your businesses are failing and you don't, because you cut your safety nets. You cut your safety nets out. And that you find yourself in a situation where you're at and they're in a situation where they are. This is why when they started talking about all the business ventures, because you brought up Sister Wife's Closet, and pardon me, I'm going off a little bit, but you talked about Sister Wife's Closet earlier. The reason why they brought that up is because that's the only business that woman had going for her. They have to reach back in a vault to figure out something that Robin did that had to do with money. And the only thing they could pull up was broke ass Sister Wife Closet. It didn't do anything. That shit went double, triple cardboard. It did nothing.
And then we had to spin it. And again, Robin's mental gymnastics, it's like an Olympic sport that I watch every episode because she spins it into like making it seem like the business failed because only her and Meri wanted it to succeed. Nobody else really believed in it. And Cody is even there saying like, yeah, I wasn't like supportive enough. I was just like, show me the money. Not like this is a fucking stupid idea to begin with.
Well, it's just not working.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that stuff that's on Coyote Pass is actually Sister Wife Closet old merch.
Dude, I was
Yeah,
I was listening to Ace and Kaylin's podcast this morning,
uh,
and they were like, "Oh my god, if one of these storage sheds is like my sister wife's closet, like memorabilia, like we need to get our hands on it." And I was like, "Yes, please."
you could probably buy all of it for the low price of $5.99. You know?
Yeah, I think you can still place orders on the website. So maybe it'll come all dusty, but you know.
You might, that's if you get it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't send them a dime or a nickel. I wouldn't send them jack shit because I can see them getting your order, cashing your check, and then talk about, oh well, we're in the process of sending it. Every time you call, 3 years later, you still waiting for your little
and this is like
SW necklace.
You think you're paying by like PayPal, but it's really like PayPal, and it's like all of a sudden your bank account gets wiped out because you know you just got scammed.
Right. Right. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
What do you think about like because Meri did reveal some things, and like I was watching like I said, so I seen a video that she did on Instagram, and I'm not taking shots at Meri. I'm just calling it what it is. She said on Instagram that this is something that she knew about and she decided to do. So she knew what was going on. She's not a victim. She did know her worth, and taking that into account, part of her worth is following her word. And so when I compare that and contrast that to what she said last night with regard to Cody and her attitude towards Cody and being so disappointed that she's actually going to have to get a little rough with him and so surprised that things can't work out and she can't be friendly with him. What do you think about that?
Meri has this need to she doesn't want people to think she's pathetic, and I can appreciate that. I understand that. So she will always like couch comments, like rude things Cody says to her or about her. Like, what was she discussing with Jen in this episode? Oh, about like this, like stuff Cody said about her like needing an alpha male, or I don't even know if that had come out, but she was telling Jen, well, this is what I want, you know, like this is what I've always wanted that. But it's like Meri has this need to qualify mean shit that Cody does to her or says about her by she'll be like, oh, well, you know, we all know I'm not the easiest person to deal with or whatever. And it's like sometimes like it can just be a shitty thing someone said about you or to you. Sometimes it can just be that.
Right. Well, because I think like because she had the one statement where she said she wanted a man who is going to be that but not alpha male. I hate that phrase.
Yeah.
But it bothers me. But she wanted a man who is going to take control, take charge.
Yeah.
And kind of take care of everything and then take care of her. And I think that if that's what your goal is, then we have to be honest about what your goal is. If you want a man who is going to step in and do those things, you want him to lead and you want to follow, I'm not my favorite, but if that's what you choose to do, then you have to find a guy who is worth fucking following. You can't just go out and because he's a man say, I'm going to follow behind him because I'm attracted to him or he agreed to date me or whatever the case may be. You have to find somebody who is worthy of that type of loyalty. And the problem that she has with Cody is that he's demonstrating, not hypothetical, but he's literally demonstrating that he's not worthy of her loyalty, her time, and attention. And he's proven that repeatedly by the way that he conducts himself, particularly when it comes to anything dealing with her. Because the sad part is what last week they had the little snippet where Jen had said, or she had told Jen, Meri had told Jen, when we moved to Vegas and we were still in the rentals, he told me that because I made him suffer for the previous 20 years, he's going to make me suffer for the next 20 years. But then if you go back, there's a young lady who does a pretty good content. I try to find her name real quick, but she pulled up a clip of when they first moved out to Vegas. And when they moved out to Vegas, do you remember when Cody was giving Meri a hard time about having a rental? That takes that whole conversation and puts it into a different category when you realize that he wasn't trying to give Meri anything and he was trying to drag her out and make her suffer. It wasn't just a question of like financing. Oh, you only have one child. Why are we putting all this money out for rent? That had nothing to do with it. I want you living in a shack and I want you suffering because that's how I want to do you. And so
who does that?
Right.
Who does that? Right? Like, we've all had people treat us crappy. We've all been done wrong in our lives. And most of us would not want a person who did us wrong to suffer equally or more than we feel like they made us suffer. Like, that is so bizarre to me. Like, Cody's psyche is poison.
Yeah, I agree. It's just because the whole thing for me, especially with Meri, like she said that we've been divorced for a year, but he's been treating you like shit for the last 15 years. He's been trying to torture you for the last 15 years. So the fact that she's, accepting it is where I kind of what really bothers me about that entire situation. Like, I just don't want to see her suffer. And so I understand her not wanting to look bad. I get it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong if you're in a situation where you're trying to do the right thing. You're doing the right thing. You have a partner, you're committed to him, you're willing to sacrifice for him, you're willing to do things for him. Hey, that's what being in a relationship is about. You're doing the right thing. But if that person does you wrong, that's not you being a victim.
Right.
That's not you being taken advantage of. The only way it becomes negative towards you if you allow that to continue happening, if you keep going back and keep letting them do it. But other than that, I mean, things happen. You can get tricked. You can get fooled. The best of us can get tricked and fooled. That's nothing. All of us can get, fuck the best. Everybody can get tricked and fooled. You get the right person at the right time and saying the right thing, spitting that right game. You could get tricked out of some money now. Like,
Yeah. And I feel like at this point, I feel like the worst case scenario for Meri would be for people to pity her. She does not want to be pitied.
Right.
And I think that that's why she tries to qualify or downplay the extremely shitty things Robin and Cody have done to her over the years. With that being said, I do not think that viewers or followers pity her. I think we are righteously angry on behalf of her because most of us, I would say probably all of us, recognize that Meri's a fucking human being. And while she might have done fucked up shit in her life, and maybe she's not, maybe she doesn't deserve to have relationships with a majority of the family members. She doesn't deserve to be treated the way Cody and Robin have treated her.
Right.
All to con her out of money. Because Cody made that very clear when he said that Janelle took all of her money and went home, that he was all boo-hurt about it. Meri never did that until just recently.
Mm-hmm.
When did Meri stop putting into the family fund?
Yeah.
I would say up until 2023.
Right. Probably around the time she got the separation. And to be honest with you, I think that's what hurt him the most when he talks about it, like between like being known as a guy who abandoned his wife from the church and having that certified. That was a pain pressure point. But I think the other pain pressure point was the fact that when he looked at his bank account, all of a sudden his money has started coming down. And even with regard to Janelle, the name of the channel I was talking about was Religion and Reality. Where
I had that recommended to me in my Facebook group. I haven't checked them out yet, but
they do some good stuff. They do,
okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check them out.
But it's just when I listen to him talk about it, he's already laying the groundwork and the foundation as far as Janelle is concerned to screw her out of her money on Coyote Pass, because the money that she took out of the family when she left, from that business that she was working, the MLM, that's what it is. It's the MLM business most likely. And she took her MLM money and left and didn't give Cody any of it. And so now he feels slighted. So he's already laying the groundwork as to why he's justified in screwing her over as far as the Coyote Pass money is concerned. And I think that's where that all comes from. But everything is about, if he gave one nickel, he expects to get, all of that back. He sees everything that he sacrifices, but he doesn't see any of the other contributions or sacrifices that anybody else makes. So I think that's kind of the twisted part.
I'm telling you right now, the moment I think up until Robin came into the family, everyone was taking out of the family fund equally to the best of their ability. I think once Cody and Robin got married, I think it turned into, because once Cody and Robin got married, then they moved into rental houses. And I think at that point, it started becoming Christine pays for Christine's household, Janelle pays for Janelle's household, Meri pays for Meri's household, but they all are still contributing money to this family pot. And Robin is the one living off the family pot. I do not believe that any of the other kids benefited at any time from the family money from the time that Robin joined the family.
Well, because here's the thing, when they started talking about like the move to Utah, and this is where I was kind of on one last night, is that they had mentioned like the sudden move to Utah. And I'm so done with that, because as we've talked about probably ad nauseum about how ridiculous it is that government is going to want to arrest you or indict you for a crime, and they don't because you moved. That's not a thing. But my question was always, who told you guys? How did you find out that you're being investigated? They're hot on your trail and you have to move. If this was something that you guys understood, if it was made for TV, I get it that you guys were all involved. But if you all really believed that the Utah government was coming to lock you all up, even though they haven't arrested somebody for strictly polygamy since 1954, even though that's the case, they were coming to get you guys because you're on TV. Who told you that? And I would imagine that it was probably Cody telling them that. I spoke to the lawyer. I talked to the lawyer. They're coming to get us next week unless we move to Vegas. So we got to go.
Right. Because we hear from Christine, because they're joking about all the moves they've made over the years. And Christine is like, yeah, I don't know why, like, we did half the moves we did.
Right.
And then Cody saying, to the realtor, you give me the the offers
Information,
and
right.
I'll give it to them. Like Cody wants to be the gatekeeper of all of that information.
Well, because even with that, like you give me the information, I get the feeling because even in that, he said that I have one piece of land that I paid for all by myself, all 100% paid off over there in the corner. I paid that land off. That's my land.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? So when he siphons that offer through, I'm sure that he's going to deduct what he thinks is the fair offer or market value for his piece of property that he paid for that the family didn't contribute to. Watch what I'm telling you. And so if they get 100,000, he's going to, and he thinks his little parcel is worth, say, 25, then all of a sudden the family is now, between the four of them, is going to have to split up 75,000 because he's going to take his 25 off the damn top. This is why, like, when it came down to him meeting with the realtor or doing any business on Coyote Pass, he shouldn't be meeting with anybody by himself anyway.
Right.
You should be. What time we meeting the realtor?
Exactly.
What time we meeting the appraiser? What time's that appointment? I'll be there. That's what should be going on,
And it should be unacceptable that you send an email to someone. Say I'm trying to sell my house, and I send an email to my realtor, and they just don't get back to me. That's unacceptable, right? Like then I'm not doing business with that person anymore. But unfortunately, you're trying to get out of having a business relationship with Cody, so you have to play ball, but it's unacceptable for him to not play ball. It's unacceptable for him to say, I'll get around to it, or to call it doing you a favor. Fulfilling your part of a business agreement is not doing the other person a favor, you fucking dumbass.
Right. Well, because I think that if I was looking at it, and it's funny to me because, Cody, he favors himself as a businessman. I'm a businessman. I have businesses over here that I got businesses and business. And he's trying to be out there high flying with I got this big ass piece of property and it's all mine. And I'm going to meet with this person and have these business meetings. Here's the thing. If I was watching that and I was going to invest my dime, my dollar into a venture with him, I would look at how he's treating his current partners, because whether they were your girlfriends, your wives, whether you guys were just screwing on the side, whatever the situation was, that situation fell apart and you are actively trying to leave them out, leave them with either misinformation, you're not trying to spread information, give them information, and you're trying to box them out of the profits. So if I was looking at that, Cody doesn't realize the damage he's doing on any business prospects that he has. There's no investor that's going to touch this dude with a 10-foot damn pole, because I'm watching you screw your partners over actively. So why would I want to get in business with you? So
that's a very good point, James. That's a very good point.
Yeah, he's just fucking us up. Like, I don't know, like just cut your nose off to spite your face. And you eventually going to have to give up some of this money anyway. You can't, you're not going to frustrate them out of Coyote Pass, kind of what you did with Christine. You're not going to frustrate Meri and Janelle out of it. So they're just going to sit on your neck until you figure out what it is you want to do with the property. And, you know what I mean? And I would start, we're not doing barbecues and cookouts. I start putting fences up out the Coyote Pass. We're not riding motorcycles no more.
When we see on the next time on that the McMansionites are having a barbecue, my petty ass I would have put up like some fencing on my whatever I'm assigned.
Right.
So it's like, you don't know. No. You don't, nobody gets access to this unless we have come to some sort of agreement. You're not riding your scooters over here, Robin. You're not flipping, doing tricks on your ATVs. Right. Nobody goes on this land until we have a business agreement in place.
Right. And I wish they should have strong armed them from the beginning. Like, it's because it's unacceptable that they let him go down. And again, this kind of folds into them allowing him to be the leader from the beginning, because you will let him go to the place, the title company by himself and put his name on everything and segment it out how he felt was deserving, as opposed to you guys actually sitting there making a conscious decision. We're going to put everybody's name on every piece of property until we decide how we're going to subdivide it. In which case, then once we pay it off and we subdivide it, we can deed that piece of property to whoever's going to get it. That's how you do it. You don't go down there and just start throwing names on pieces of property. No, hell no. That's the first thing. You know what I mean?
And if I'm Janelle and Meri, all I'm doing is I'm screenshotting, I'm recording what I'm seeing this season, which is Cody acknowledging rather, that everyone equally put into it, that he just arbitrarily assigned people's lots because he just had to, and that's just what he came up with at the time. And then in this episode, he says that he's going to split everything 4 ways.
Right. Well, because that's the problem, because he said he has one piece of property, one parcel to himself. And so if he said he's going to split it 4 ways, the proceeds from selling the properties, he could just be talking about the limited 3.
Yeah.
And that's where I have and again, this is why you got to put that shit in writing. Like, they're smart people, but you got to have this in writing.
Yeah. And the fact that, because, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, like, Meri, Janelle, you got, like, Cody saying he's gonna split it 4 ways. Like, he's gonna split it 4 ways. But these women are so convinced that he is going to find a way to either sell it from out underneath them or do some sort of shady business deal that screws them, or that this eventually does go to court and they can only go after what they're legally assigned to, which leaves them screwed. And so it's like, well, they know this guy better obviously than I do. So it's astonishing to me that these women do not trust what comes out of Cody's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
With all the history they have, they have ample evidence as to why they shouldn't trust a single word that he says to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me hit some of these super chats.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Kikalika with the $10 super chat. Robin made herself the go-between. None of the OG3 were communicating. Makes sense. It took them this long to figure out how they were paying all for their own stuff and still putting in the family pot. Yeah,
that's a really good point. Mm-hmm. That Cody purposefully. Cody used to bitch all the time, right? That his wives didn't get along, and then he bitched when they were teaming up against him, supposedly.
Right.
But he intentionally made the relationships between his first 3 wives adversarial so that they didn't talk amongst themselves and they didn't figure this stuff out, because we know Christine said that she was making all her mortgage payments. Janelle was making, like, all of these women were financially funding their own lives and putting money into a family pot. And none of them thought, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, because I think that I think it's just a thing where, as much credit as I like to give them, at the end of the day, they were all kind of falling into Cody's trap, because they were basically giving him money. Like they would take care of themselves and they would still cut him a check, and he would take his check. And because he was so closely tied to Robin, you giving Cody money was basically you giving Robin money. So at the end of the day, you guys got to help me because we got to help take care of the family. And I'm the family. And wherever I lay my head at, that's where it's going to be at. And, and I will give them the credit that probably the 15 years before that, especially when they're living under one roof, it makes more sense. You
Yes.
also had a situation where they were making far less money. So it's not like they had a whole bunch of disposable income coming in where they could go out and buy a bunch of paintings and ATVs and all that other stuff. So the money that was coming in was going right to bills anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got used to being in that situation. But the problem they had was you didn't transcend your position. So what you still had the same mindset that you were in survival mode and you were trying to pay for everything. You had to share and group all your money together, not recognizing that you guys were making enough money where you could pay your bills and put some money in the bank.
Mm.
But unfortunately, you were putting your money in Cody's bank and he was spending it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had another Susie Q for
Thank
$1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. James, we all love you going off on this nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Get my blood pressure high as hell.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Susie Q. Appreciate you. Then we have Leela Mar. Hopefully, Leela Mar 84, 989 super chat. Hopefully, I got that right. Please let me know if I got it right now. Chat. All the truth being spilled right now. Thank you, Sarah and James.
Thank you
guys
so much.
Thank you. And then we have Pam has thoughts. $5 super chat. James is at 100 tonight, and I'm here for it. Keep bringing the fire.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Pam has thoughts. Now, of course, Lizzie B, the super moderator, $5 super chat. Janelle was worried about logistics and her mortgage. Robin was worried about them not working and making her a fortune. This is very true. This is that the power of the sister wives closet. They was going to make them all filthy, dusty rich.
Yes. My God. And, and when they showed that clip and you see Christine, she's out networking at that trade show they were at. And Robin's just
off to the
being
side,
a wallflower in the back, like not doing anything. Like, and that's okay. Not everyone's a salesman, right?
Mm.
But for Robin to have the audacity to pin the failure of the business on these other women, Christine definitely tried. You can tell. I would say Meri tried. Even Janelle, and Janelle was like, this is fucking stupid.
Right.
But she still tried because it was important to Cody. But Cody only fears poverty, supposedly. And being only married to Robin is going to bankrupt him.
Right. Well, you married the bank.
Mm-hmm.
The empty bank, but you married the bank. And I think that, I think that, again, the producers doing no favors, because at the same time, Robin was sitting there saying, yeah, I was super committed, me and Meri, to making sure the business worked. They show a picture of Christine actually trying to sell the jewelry while Robin is standing off to the side. So I thought that was kind of funny. But in addition to that, you had Meri, like, Robin's whole point in that whole story, even during that storyline, was I need Cody to basically push these women back into the salt mines. I need him to make them work for me. And that's how, pretty much the relationship worked. She didn't mind everybody following behind Cody as long as she was the one controlling Cody. That's a win for her. And so everything that she did, like, as bad as it is, with Robin, I can see that point that she probably wasn't the best for the family. Absolutely. But at the same time, Robin's power is limited to what Cody allows Robin to do. If he didn't allow this to happen, a lot of this wouldn't have took place. The whole, if you wanted to do Sister Wives Closet for Robin, you should have made Sister Wives Closet successful. You should have invested. If anything, you turn it into a turnkey business where these ladies could step in to your business, sit down, and it's already set up. and everything is already done. If that's what you were really trying to, if you're really trying to sell it and push it to them as a business that you created for the family, that's how you would have did it. But that's not what you did. What you did was you wanted them to make it successful. So you had the idea, you wanted to pass it off for them to make them make it work. And then you would have just swept in and took all the profits from said business. That was the plan. But it just didn't work out that way because they weren't going to work for you.
Right.
And so it is what it is. We'll do a couple more and we'll get back into it. Janelle Devine with the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope Mary talks to Janelle and thanks her for this heads up, because the last thing she said to her was she's sorry she felt she needed a lawyer. Yeah, that was the condescending, like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
And I think the press tour that Mary did, she did say that she and Janelle do talk here and there. And that made me happy to hear. I'm glad because these two women, their bad blood goes way back. And if they are cordial and wanting the best for each other, that makes me really happy.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that they're also at a point now where it's kind of fast forwarded, like as far as the press tour is concerned, where Mary is starting to come to the realization that these people are not on her side. I think that when she sat there with Janelle, she genuinely thought Cody was going to help her out, because at that time, Cody was still being nice to her. And he was still, oh, she's my favorite ex-wife and all that horse shit. And and Mary was there eating it all up, thinking that, okay, there's a little crack, there's a possibility that maybe at minimum we could have some type of relationship between the two of us. But I think that rubber meets the road, especially after watching last night and Cody's response to the ladies. I think that the production team is allowing Cody to see what some of these people are saying about him. And
totally, 100%.
Yeah, he's hot about it. So, Mary, you out. You know what I mean? Which also says too, like,
because Cody told the realtor, that we've lived our lives in the public, so we all talk shit about each other, and that's been a problem in our family. So, nobody gets more boo hurt about what gets said on the show than Cody.
Right.
All of these adults have been dealing with it for years, for the entire time, the same amount of time. But Mary, Janelle, and Christine never talk. I think the only exception, is when Mary got pissed that Christine disclosed the ring melting story as something that was not her story to tell. Other than that, and these people have said all kinds of things about each other on the show, nobody has gotten as panties in a bunch about it like Cody.
Right.
He's constantly talking about the rumor mill and shit talking and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you put your whole family on a TV show.
Right. It is what it is. You got to accept it. It's what comes with the big checks. That's why you get paid the big bucks. But I think that one of the things that, like, to give Cody a little bit of, well, I won't even say grace, but just the reality of it is, for Cody, he says something about Janelle and Christine. Nobody really buys it. It's kind of, you take it with a grain of salt, like anything that he says. But if they come out and say, yeah, Cody, I saw him throw a sack of kittens into the river, like, you would believe it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Because his name is dog shit. So at the end of the day, that's why he's so hurt, because he's like, if they say anything about me, everybody takes their side, but nobody believes me because you're a liar. But it is what it is. Again, this is a situation where this is the bed that you made for yourself. So now you have to lay in it. It's called consequences. So there's that. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let me just get a couple more. Oh, we have Daisy Reyes in here, $1.99 super chat. So weird, Cody started trauma dumping on the realtor. I know. Could you imagine being that realtor walking through Coyote Pass with Cody, and every 3 steps he want to tell you about how his relationship failed? I don't care. I'm here to sell a house. I'm here to sell some land. I don't care why this didn't work out. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Megatron 719 $5 super chat. Mary problem is she outright doesn't listen to the damn thing nobody tell her about Cody and Robin. Then she's so shocked when she gets taken advantage of. Megatron.
Yep.
Don't you gonna stop telling the truth on that, Megatron?
Yeah.
She said, so shocked. Can't believe that Cody's taking advantage of me, like Janelle said.
And it's,
No, go ahead.
I take I try to take a step back because, in the relationship that I'm in now, I've been married for 6 years. My relationship is very chill.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't like, there's not like a lot of, there's not drama, right? Constantly going up. In my early 20s, those were the kind of relationships I was in. And you get into a relationship with someone you want to try to make work, and it's absolutely not the right fit for you, but you're doing all these things you usually wouldn't do because you want that relationship to work so badly. You want to be the right person for that person, even though they are not wanting the same thing. And that's fine. 2 people can just not be right for each other.
Mm.
It's hard for me to go back to that time in my life where I did a lot of the same things that we see Mary do now. It's almost hard to wrap my brain around being in that mindset. Like, I'm literally like wanting to bang my head against the wall watching Mary, because it's like, dude. But I remember when I had broken up with a guy right before I moved back from New York back to California. And it was such a bad relationship. And I let him have all my stuff, like my furniture, because I wasn't going to take it back to California. And like a couple months after I had been home, he was texting me and he was like strapped for cash. And I think I sent him like $100.
Wow. Because you was in love. Look,
like, why? Why?
The whole point is that that kind of thing happens. I don't think anybody is mad or blaming Mary for those types of things happening, where you want to trust them, you want to believe them. But after a while, after 30 years of this guy treating you and showing you who he is, because the problems you had didn't just start with Robin. That's illustrated not only by the confessional couch with you guys talking on the show, but also in the book you all wrote. You were having problems before Robin came into the family. So this whole time that Robin's been involved with the family, he's been treating you like shit. And so at the end of the day, like Megatron said, like Jen has said, it's hard. I get it. It's hard to be that person who's trying to give somebody a heads up when they refuse to accept anything you say with regard to their relationship, because they're so committed to the relationship working. But there's a point where you say it's a credit to you for sticking with it and trying to honor your commitment. And there's a fine line between you getting credit for sticking to your commitment and honoring your commitment, and you allowing yourself to be a fool for somebody else. And I think that when the audience watches it, the problem they have is that when they see Mary do this, it's not a source of accreditation that we're going to give her because she's stuck in this hard relationship, and no matter how bad Cody treated her, she stuck through it with him. I think people are looking at it and saying, Mary, this dude he's not worth the level of commitment that you're offering him. There are men out there, if that's what you into, Mary, there are men out there who are worth that level of commitment. He is not the one. And certainly he's not the one for you, because he doesn't want that from you. And I think that that's the other part of it. He's already demonstrated that he doesn't want you. And so it doesn't matter how committed you are to him. He's not committed to you because he don't want your ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like it is, you know, I don't want to be an asshole about it, but I'm just saying, like he doesn't want you. You know,
Yeah.
he's not into you at all. So,
Yeah.
but we have thank you so much, Megatron.
Thank you, Megatron.
Then we have Irish Size, $10 super chat.
Ooh.
No message, just the love. Appreciate
Thank
you, Irish.
you.
Irish eyes are smiling. Okay.
I love it.
Then we have Jennifer Devine, $9.99 super chat, plus the money they gave for the house that can be traced, plus the college and cars Mary paid for. Bet those things were on her list. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. She should be look. She should be pulling Santa Claus. Making
I've
a list,
seen a
checking
lot
it
of
twice.
people calling out the episode Aspen's wedding, where Aspen, the venue that Aspen really likes, it's more expensive than some of the others. And you know, Robin is like balking at the cost. And Mary says, I will chip in, like presumably even more of her money to cover the difference so that Aspen can have the wedding of her dreams. And it's like Mary never balked at I will give it to Mary. I really do believe that she viewed all of the kids as her kids. And I realized that there is accusations and allegations out there. But I do think that Mary really did view all of these kids as hers and would have, at least financially, given everything to them.
Right.
But
well, I mean, she contributed to them. So yeah, she cared
and
about
what she thought she was contributing to the kids was really just to Robin.
Right. Well, I mean the fact that the fact that you're sitting here and you're going to start talking about how it's not fair that we're going to give Aspen a nice wedding, while meanwhile you had a huge 600-person wedding yourself in the first season, Robin, as well as a 10-day honeymoon, Robin. So I don't know exactly where you're coming, like, and when I look at the books, I don't see any money that you've put in on anything. Like you haven't paid anything on anything. So I don't really understand why you're upset about, because we aren't spending your money. So you can take your happy ass over to the corner, have a seat, and get some coloring books and just draw yourself a pretty picture and shut what the French call the fuck up, because you're not putting any money on anything. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Like, it's weird to me because, like, between that, the time that the kids wanted to go to a church and she's there hooping and hollering at them, yo, you ain't going nowhere till you 18. That's when you get to make a decision. Hold on. Your kids are what, 7, 8? You can go home and talk to them like that, but don't talk to my kid. Like she's always kind of been that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Snapping off on other people's kids. But then when it's your kid's stuff, you've moved this family states to serve your children. You've uprooted this whole family several times when they moved to, it's funny, they moved from Utah to Las Vegas where they were close to Robin's family, and then just, oh, surprise y'all, she pregnant. It's kind of weird that she moved right around her mom, right around the time that she got pregnant, supposedly. Convenient. Then in Arizona, they moved from Las Vegas to Arizona because, just a surprise, her son happens to be going to college in Arizona. And meanwhile, Gabe is missing out on all kinds of opportunities because he had a wrestling scholarship. He had money coming in to help pay for college. And he couldn't do any of that stuff because, oh, we got to be close to Dayton because Dayton has autism. I mean, and I want to be close to him. So you uprooted the whole family several times, but you're going to start talking about paying out some money and what I'm doing with my money to help one of the kids. Like that's where me and Robin would hit loggerheads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crazy. Still a couple more. Don't get this one. Susie Q down in our super chat. Sarah, we are loving you being spicy too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's 3 more. Alexis Lane, 999 super chat. Robin had enough free time to run the business herself. Only wife with a nanny.
Good point.
She just wanted minions to do the work for her. Poor Mary wanted to go to school and was scared to tell her. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think when Gwen was doing her YouTube commentary and reactions, she had mentioned that like Aurora and Brianna were still like working my sister wife's closet. So yeah, if Robin doesn't do work,
Right.
Robin gets people to do work for her. So even if it's her own kids.
Right. She's the big idea person. I don't worry about the details. I just come up with the big ideas.
Exactly.
Then we have Simply Jody Marie down there, super sticker.
Thank you
so much. Awesome. And last but not least, we have Aunt Mitty with the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Aunt Mitty. Well said, Sarah. Mary and Christine are both emotionally stunted and viewed relationship in a very adolescent way. Absolutely.
And I have to remind myself that they are a product of their environment, because Mary and Christine grew up in this religion. This was the second time that we've had someone use the word cult on this show. Janelle in this episode said something about, one of those other fundamentalist cults. I'm like,
right.
That's kind of implying that you recognize that, girl, you're in a cult. So,
right.
Yeah.
Those cults too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Like the importance of having, it was pertaining to the importance for these women to be financially independent, because in those other fundamentalist cults, the women don't have financial autonomy. Was something Janelle was talking about.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let me give these folks some thank you, super thanks. Appreciate you. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. We both appreciate you.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Amazeballs. Amazing. Let's talk about a little bit about we could talk about Cody on Coyote Pass with the real estate agent. Cody getting to pretend like he's the big man out there showing off all his land to this guy. Oh yeah, look at all this. I own all this. My name's on everything. I got these little minions who are basically doing what I need them to do. I got to run it past them to get the okay. And the filtration system that he puts up, where all the money has to be filtered through him, offers him. I have so many problems with a lot of that. Like the whole Coyote Pass thing is just drives me crazy to no end.
Tell me about it.
It's just that, from the beginning, one, Coyote Pass, when they moved out to Las Vegas, they sell $2 million worth of property because they had the 4 houses, $500,000 a piece. That's about $2 million plus of property. They get out to Arizona. First thing they do, Robin, she says, "Oh, I want to rent a house that's so big that has rooms for all my kids, and I just can't find one." So she sits at, now all of a sudden Cody says, "I'm going to buy a big old mansion so that I can house my family," and that comes out to about $1 million. Then he says, "We're going to buy this piece of property," which comes out to about $1 million. So in essence, he took the entire proceeds of the cul-de-sac and sold them, and he and Robin are the only ones who benefited from the sale of those properties in Las Vegas. If you crunch the numbers, like the way they did the numbers, they were the only ones who truly benefited from the money that they made from those properties. So basically, you have a house and you have a play yard that you take and run your ATVs and all that crap over. Whenever you want to go out for a picnic, you got a little area. If you don't want to do it in your 4-acre backyard of your house, you go down to Coyote Pass and you do something. And then you deny these women the opportunity to be able to get out from under it. Cody, I think it's in a preview for next week, or no, it was this week, where he said, "Oh, they asked me if I want to buy them out. I don't have the money for that.
Right.
You don't have the money for it, but you still gonna keep the land, and you still gonna use the land, and you refuse to sell the land. So what are we doing? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's the fact that he's dragging them out the way he is. And to be honest with you, like, I don't want to be that guy, but I would have. You should have been called attorneys. They should have been called attorneys. And the longer they wait, and this is part of the problem I have in this entire situation, the longer you guys wait on contacting an attorney, the harder it's going to be for you to get anything out of it. Because there is a point where it becomes a tacit agreement where something happens, you don't disagree with it, then it just stays in place for so long. And the first thing a judge is going to ask you is, if he did this, if he put his name on everything and only put your name on one or two pieces of property, and you contributed 25, 55% of the proceeds, because I think that Mary probably put in way more than the 25% that she's going to get credit for. You put in way more money than that, but your name only appears on less than 25% of the property. 1 acre, 1.8 acres, a little over 1.5 acres of property, which is not significant at all. And you let him do that, and you went years without saying anything. That's a tacit agreement. He can say, well, she obviously agreed with it because she didn't disagree with me. And this is him taking advantage of the fact that everybody's trying to play nice. And because I said it last night, one of the problems I have is if you raise your kids up and they're decent people, they're kind, they're generous, they're thoughtful, they're concerned with other people, they don't want to hurt other people's feelings, they don't want to take advantage of people. That does create a situation where they may view other people as having the same worldview as them. That nobody wants to take advantage of me because I don't want to take advantage of them. But you pair them with somebody who will take advantage of them, they're at a deficit. You know what I mean? And I think that that's where Cody is winning with these ladies. They don't think that he's going to do him as dirty as he's going to do them.
I agree.
You know? And, and you sit out there with that man. And what real estate agent, if we have any real estate agents in the chat, let me know. But in my mind, I don't think a real estate agent should meet with one party of a property if the property is owned by multiple parties. Like, why would you meet with only one person? Because you need all of them to sign up with you to sell the property. They all have to sign the contract to hire you as a real estate agent.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work. I don't know. No.
You know, because the title, I mean, at minimum, the titling of the property would be insane. Because even if Cody were to sell, like if he had his property under common tenancy in common, where he has his own property, basically is his, he can sell it, he can leave it in his will, whatever, it's his separate property. Even if you sold your part of the property, your interest in the property, nobody can build anything out there with the permission of the other people who own the property, the other investors.
Right.
So it's a titling nightmare. So even if the guy, as a real estate agent, I would imagine for me, if I'm thinking correctly, I wouldn't sign up with a guy who's going to, I'm going to sell my part of the property, me and my wife. But you guys only own like one lot outright with your name on it. Or two lots. They own the one on the far end and the one that Christine used to have.
Yeah.
But the other two that are in the middle, smack dab in the middle, Mary's name is on one and Janelle's name is on the other one. Janelle and Mary, and then it's Janelle and Cody. So what are we doing? No.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Like, it's so dumb. This is so dumb. Like this, and this is another example of how bad at business he actually is. That is so tied up the way it is.
I would have loved for him to have expanded more on his failed business ventures. Like, what other ones besides My Sister Wife's Closet?
Right. Right, because he had what? He has the pew pew business.
Yes.
He had the business. I think he was going to try to do that business where he was doing the cars with his one buddy, where he was trying to give him the Lexus, and he couldn't get it into the trailer. So it's probably that one.
Oh, okay.
And then if you remember when they first got out to Vegas, he was also a part of an MLM. I forget the one he was in with the wives. Like, I think the wives were actually his downline.
Mm.
That's how he was able to get that the Nissan Murano convertible, because that was tied to his participation in that MLM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's probably, I mean, he probably has a bunch of like MLM products sitting in a storage, because you have to, like, when you join them multi-level networking marketing things, you got to buy the product yourself too. So
Right.
in order for you to be eligible to maintain your downline, and I think to get money or dues or whatever it is, you have to purchase so much property or so much of the item that you're selling.
Mm.
Because you have to be part of the business. You have to be the best customer.
Mhm.
Some of the
Robin
way to
loves
do it.
being the best customer.
Yeah, right. You have to be the Robin in the MLM. So
Yeah.
he probably has a bunch of that. Like if it was Avon, he'd have a bunch of Avon stuff in one of them sheds, which is usually like not even a cut down on like the ladies being involved with the MLMs, but usually that's the case with a lot of the people who sign up for the MLMs. They'll sign up and they'll wind up, the only thing they really have to show for it is either a back room, a closet, or a garage full of product that they can't sell or do
Mhm.
anything with. So, but yeah, that whole thing was insane. And the whole, I paid for a piece of property with whose money?
I know.
You know what I mean? Because that goes back to like, so you bought the McMansion by yourself. You bought the land that was connected to the McMansion by yourself, and you were able to pay for a piece of Coyote Pass by yourself. With what money, and how are you generating this extra money that none of the other wives had any investment in? I'm just curious. I wish Cody
Mhm.
would answer those questions.
Yeah.
Like, what business were you doing? I mean, peeling them trees, or what was happening?
Oh yeah, that could be another potential business. Is he, with all the thousands of trees he's chopping down, is he selling the lumber or whatever?
Yeah, I think he's on a lumber business.
Yeah.
Because even when he was talking, like I did a video a little while back showing it when Gabe and Garrison were out there, they had like a stack of trees up in a pile, and they were
Mm.
still out there peeling trees.
Mhm.
So, what are you clearing land for if you're not even close to building a house out there?
I
And the
know. And
trees-
what I loved about last week's episode is he's cutting down a tree and expending all of that effort. One tree, that one skinny tree,
yeah,
that he has a whole slew of trees he would have to knock down in order to have a view, which was the point of him cutting down the tree in the
right.
first place. And certainly in California, they would never permit you to cut down a tree simply because you
You want to
want
look at a mountain? The mountain is there. Trust me, it'll stay
that
there.
is
It'll be
not
there.
a good reason to cut down a tree.
Or just the fact he went out there and wanted a man killing trees and decided this is what he wanted to do. Oh, then we got a super chat from Jenny P. $5 super chat.
Thank you.
I'm a few minutes behind, and James saying you can as the French say, F up, had me cackling. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a crazy time. Crazy time. Way back when I did that years ago. That was years ago when I went crazy. Well, what did you think about like the whole storyline with Christine and talking about her new rental property? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I was appreciative. I'm happy that we have moved on from the wedding. I'm glad that
Right.
that's now in the past. I thought it was funny them joking about the amounts of times that they've moved. And then also, I appreciated David. I don't think anybody would look at David and think he's a beta male or something. I don't think that really matters to David what you would consider him, an alpha male, a patriarch, a this, a that. David could clearly care less, and I loved that it was clearly Christine's idea to have this rental property, and David was like, okay, tell me what you need to do, but he like deferred to what she wanted. She went out and found a place and in like 2 weeks they had put in an offer. Like I really love how David just compliments Christine so well. And it's not like Christine does this all herself because she has to, because she's married to someone like Cody who's just literally checked out. No, like David is invested and he wants to be there to support her, but he wants her to have all the things she wants. And I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me give Jenny something. And I agree with you. I think that thank you so much, Jenny P. I appreciate that. Appreciate it so much. I agree with you. I think that there's a part of it where when we look at it, we could see that David is supporting Christine in a way to try to get her on her feet and give her the confidence and skill set where she can go out and she can do the things that she wants to accomplish. And I think that that's more valuable because that's the type of investment that partners should make into one another. Because if something were to happen to David, and this would be my thinking in David's situation, if something were to happen to me, I want you to be in the best possible situation that if I leave or, if I pass away, I, go out and I'm pull a Cody and I cut down one of the man killers and that thing
The Widowmaker.
The Widowmaker.
Yeah.
It falls on top of me, curl my feet up like a wicked witch of the west and my shoes shoot off.
Yeah.
Like I would want to make sure that my family is going to be taken care of. And I think that that's what part of what drives David and allowing Christine that leverage too. It's not just the fact, like I think that it's there because he loves her and he wants to support her, but I think it's also there because he wants her to have her own thing so that she can do her own thing and she can have her own stuff and give her that sense of independence, especially because she was with a man who deprived her of her independence for so long. So he's trying to, like, in the true form and fashion, like you're not there to make a better person, but you're there to help build up your partner. And I think that that's kind of the role that I see David playing in Christine's life, at least to this point. But you mentioned the whole thing about alpha male and David not considering himself an alpha male. Cody had made a reference about Mary's dating potential and how she wants to have an alpha male, but she's not going to be able to get an alpha male because she's bossy. and
her friends are bitches.
Yeah. She's hanging around. What do you say? A bunch of them?
Yeah. He said that in order for her to get a guy, she needed to ditch those bitches.
Yeah. And here's my thing. I think that when Cody said that, I get like there's twofold. First thing, they started off this whole show not cursing and all fiddly fuck, they would say fiddly fucks, but they would say like all fiddly sticks and oh gosh, gee whiz and that kind of stuff. Oh shucks, golly gee. They started off that way. Now, he's calling women out their name and he's saying all that. So it's a shot. It's a bit of a shot. The other part of it is, I think that the previous producer, he was always on the couch talking that wild stuff and they just cut it out.
Yeah.
Like, I think that now they're just in a situation where they're actually putting out, oh, okay, that's what you want to say? You sure that's how you want to say it? Fine. Put it up, roll tape, and he's looking like an ass. My My personal thing, I've said this before, I'll say it to the day I die. If you're a guy and you sit and talk about alpha males and all that dumb shit, and you want to categorize yourself as a thing, then 9 times out of 10, in my experience, you are nowhere near the thing that you try to categorize yourself as. So it's the equivalent of you saying that you a tough guy. You know, I'm a tough guy. If you're a tough guy, you never have to tell nobody that you tough. If you not,
Exactly.
if you knock somebody out, be like that dude, your friends will tell you leave dude alone because he will clean your front row out. Like he be keeping the dentist busy. Like this dude will he bought boats for dentists because he will clear you out on your front row.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you that. He'll never have to tell you anything. If anything, he might get insulted because you are talking about it. You know what I mean? That's just how that works. Alpha males, if you're going to be basically what you're saying is you want to be a leader of your family. If you want to be a leader of your family, be somebody worth fucking following.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Instead of you proclaiming that I'm an alpha male and I'm the alpha and I'm the leader, be somebody, demonstrate why these ladies should get behind you and trust themselves and their kids to you and your decision-making skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because forget all the advertisement. I've never seen any of the leaders I've ever respected or admired. I've never looked at anything that they've written, said, or anything else, and they said, I'm a leader. I'm the leader of such and such. They just say, these are my positions. This is what I think. And people will either agree, and because they agree, they go along with them, or whatever the case may be. But they don't ever come out and say, follow me because I'm the leader. It's ridiculous. So, but what do you think about Cody and Mary's prospect to finding a boyfriend and the difficulty in dating at 53?
I hope I'm never in the position to have to date at 53, but so I can see how that would be daunting, especially coming out of like a decades long marriage. So Mary clearly thought that she was in it for life with Cody. And I can sympathize with Mary that this is it seems a very much like a monumental task, but Mary seems to have like a good attitude about it. She says that she has been dating. We know that she was in a relationship for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that she's taking a healthy approach to things, because coming from the situation she came from, she has a lot of baggage. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do a video about it later, probably exploring a little more. But I think that, one, it's difficult to be out the game for any amount of time. Like if you had like even back in the day, you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, and you're seeing each other, and you stop dating because you're dating this person exclusively for say 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard then to get right back into dating again. And you haven't even been out that long. Mary's been out the game for 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And even when she was in the game, let's be honest, she was 19 years old. She wasn't from a big, popular, booming town. And she probably didn't have a whole lot of boyfriend experience before Cody. Right? Just in fairness to me, I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm just saying.
No, I'm sure you're right.
And if that's the case, she's coming in already with a deficit. The one thing I will say is that, Mary, it's difficult for you to find a relationship in general. And that's what makes relationships so special, is that they're not easy to find. You can't go order a man like you can, like you hit Amazon up and be like, yeah, I want somebody 6'4", generous and rich. And you get it 2 days, because you got Prime. Like, that's not how it works. So it's difficult already for you to find somebody. It's scarier when you get older, because you realize you have more life behind you than ahead of you. So it just seems like everything has to be rushed. But when you're younger, you feel like you have your whole life ahead of you. and you have all the time in the world. So it seems a little more slower. You know, your pace isn't as crazy.
Yeah.
So I can sympathize with Mary's situation. What she doesn't need, though, is the bad advice of Cody. She doesn't need the bad advice of Cody. If
she doesn't
wants,
need any advice from Cody.
Right.
Cody needs to lose her number. First, buy her out, pay her like whatever, and lose her number. Like, yeah.
Well, because it's just one of those situations where if the information that he's trying to give her, if she wants a guy like you, then she should take your advice. Because you're trying to tell her how to get a man like you. The problem that she have is she doesn't want a dude like you. She's trying to break bad habits. So break those bad habits. You know, if necessary, go to counseling, get yourself healed up, you know, take some time to yourself to figure out what it is you want, what you want out of life, what you want out of a partner, understand these things, and then move forward with that. That's going to limit your dating pool as is, even at 53. That's what makes it a little more complicated when you get older and you're more mature, because you're not sitting around trying to tolerate a whole bunch of bullshit that you would when you were in your early 20s. Let's call it what it is. You don't have a whole lot of time. I'm not sitting here trying to date somebody for 6-7 months and figure out if I like them or not.
Right.
and they're throwing up all kinds of red flags left and right, and I'm overlooking them because I'm trying to make the relationship work. When you get older, I ain't got time for all that. First couple red flags, I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the game. Let's pack up the bags and go, you know. But I do feel for Mary's situation. I do like Jen's advice, though. Just something as simple as, if you like dogs, take your dog to the dog park. You want a man who like dogs? Find a dude with a dog. Go to the dog park. You know, go to the place the men are. That's easy peasy. If you want to fish, go down to where the water is. Don't stand in the middle of the city. Yeah, with your fishing pole, complaining about how dry it is. All right, we got 2 more super chats. We have Kika Lika with the $10 super chat. Cutting down the trees on a lot he doesn't own yet is crazy. Thank you very much for saying that. I absolutely agree, because I would lose my mind if somebody was buying my property and they was out there cutting down. Like, if you were selling a car to somebody and you come back and they done stripped the paint and put polka dots all over the thing, and they haven't paid it off yet. What are you doing? What are you, nuts? You have to own the land or the lumber rights to do that. That alone shows me how dumb he is. The man knows nothing and anything. Yeesh. And here's the thing. He could mess around, lose the land, because they were talking about they weren't going to pay it off because Cody didn't have the finances to do it and he didn't have the money. So if they would have lost the land and it would have reverted back to the original owner could turn around and sue Cody and the sister wives for that money that he lost.
Wow.
Because he made permanent changes to his property. So you don't get to, like, it's, if you pay it off, it's not a problem. But like kind of what Kikalika is saying, if Cody is right and those trees make the land more valuable and he's there strip mining those trees off the property, decreasing the value, then the guy would have I think he would have a case to try to to get recompense for some of the value that he lost. Thank you so much, Kikalika. Good point. Thank you. And Kathy Mosley with the $5 super chat. I bet when Coyote Pass got paid off, Cody used the land as equity to make the down payment on their new mansion. I 100% agree with you.
I would love to see the books.
Yeah, because you have to put all that down, like when you do the assets and all that stuff when you're purchasing it, especially something like $2.1 million on a mortgage. Yeah, they want to see everything you own. So I'm sure Coyote Pass, his deed and his ownership on Coyote Pass came up in those conversations. So 100%, Kathy. Yeah, I want to see the books too, but I know they're never going to show them to us. I can dream. But let me give you a little something. You get a double shot. There you go. So nice, I had to do it twice. Uh, what do you have going on, popping off this week? Or did you have anything else that you want to say about the this episode?
I love that we're starting to talk money. Finally, it seems like next week it's going to be a lot more of this, and I am here for this because I think this is making Cody and Robin just look like trash, and I love that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that for them.
Yeah, exactly. I love that for them.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well, oh, did I miss people? I think,
Yeah,
I think I
we have
did.
a few more super chats.
Yeah, let's roll through it. Teresa Skinner, $4.99 super chat. Big Teresa in the house. Steve Coyote Pass is only hold on Janelle and Mary. Yeah, that's why he is dragging it out. He still has a whole power over them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you know what a crazy part, because I agree with Teresa on that. The crazy part is the fact that they're calling him and nagging him. Like, that was some bullshit too. Oh, they're nagging me.
Yeah.
If I'm an investor, you owe me money. I lend you money. You owe me money. I'm not nagging you if I'm asking you about my money, Playboy.
Exactly.
That's not nagging.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's not what we're gonna call that.
We can call it a business inquiry if you
Right.
want, but no, it's not a nag.
Right, but I agree with Teresa. I think that that's the point where Cody is looking at it and he's feeling special because he's getting these phone calls. Oh, look at them always calling me because they want me so bad. They can't get over me. You know,
Mhm.
I think he's in that crazy place. But yeah, good point, Teresa.
Yep.
Stacy Stitches. Uh-oh. Don't get confused. That's Stitches. $4.99 super chat.
Thank
Cody
you.
Thank you so much. Cody is a beta male who pretends to be an alpha male. David is the definition of an alpha male. An alpha male can handle a bossy woman like Mary. Yep. Because if you're a boss, you know how to deal with bosses.
I was going to say alpha male would be unbothered by a true alpha male, if you will, would be unbothered by a bossy woman.
Right. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Or bossy friends. Like an alpha male would welcome his partner's friends in his life, you know?
Well, I've never seen, like, even to do like a little sports analogy. I've never seen somebody who is a franchise player of a team who wants to play with a bunch of bums. Like, if you're the greatest of all time, like you look at like basketball, like Michael Jordan, he was surrounded by fantastic. He had a fantastic team. Kobe Bryant, fantastic team. LeBron James, fantastic team. Football, guys who play football, they want to play with the best of the best. They don't want to be the best guy on the team. They want to have a team just as strong as they are. And for you alpha males out there, why wouldn't you want to have the strongest team you could possibly have? Meaning your partner is just as strong as you are, and iron sharpens iron, and you make each other better. Why would you want to dominate somebody in your relationship? That's not a sign of strength. That's a sign of weakness. If you need to have that, you know what I mean? You're insecure. If you need to have somebody who you could boss around and take control over and all that, and they not have an opinion because you can't stand to be challenged, then you absolutely should be challenged. Anytime somebody say don't ask questions, you should definitely have a question.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But thank you so much. Stacy Stitches. Oh, Gigi's back in the house. The $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Best moment of the episode, Avalon running and jumping into Truly's arms. A brief reprieve from all the nastiness and nonsense. Yeah.
I definitely agree.
And of course, in true form and fashion, as the grandparent or as the parent, they never go to the one you want them to go to. Like, because Christine was standing, Avalon, and she ran right by Christine. But it is what it is. Kids are kids. You know, that's just how it works. It is what it is. Thank you so much, Gigi.
Thank you.
Karen Shirley, $1.99 super chat. You need a southern view because we cut Cody off.
I mean, Cody just really has all of the audacity. It's Yeah.
Yeah, he's Mr. Crazy Sauce. Extra crazy sauce, please. Kika Link with the $5 super chat. You can't build, but you can cut down all the trees. Nope.
That's an excellent point. That's an
Right.
excellent point. Because his whole thing about not being able to build was like the land needs to stay as is because we don't own it outright yet.
Right. Right.
But
Which
I
is
can
true.
just chop the trees down. That's no problem.
Right. Which is not true.
Right.
I agree with Kika Link, and I agree with what you said. Like, if you out there cutting down trees, that would be a problem. You're creating fundamental changes to my property, and you don't own anything yet. And even a little bullshit excuse he had, well, I paid for that property on the corner outright. That's the equivalent of if you have a roommate and you pay your share of the rent, but your roommate doesn't, your landlord is going to kick both of you out. They're not going to kick your roommate out because they didn't pay their share. Even if
Right.
we pretend like Cody by himself and his lonesome paid for that property up on the corner and it was good to go, it doesn't matter because it was all contingent that you paid for the entire property, which means that you can't cut down a tree, you can't move a stick or a stone on that property until it's paid off. So I agree with what Kika is saying. 100%. 100%. Next up, we got Pam Has Thoughts. $5 super chat. Pam has thoughts. Back against. They need to find an accountant who is a Sister Wife fan and is pissed off. This might not be a bad idea. This is actually a really good idea.
Yep.
Pam has thoughts. They will find things the CPA volunteers as a tribute.
I love that.
Yeah, I tell you what, they might actually, and they'll pull up receipts too.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about this chapter or this particular episode? Wait, before we do that, let me give them their shout out. I jumping the gun. You see that, guys? Terrible, terrible, terrible. Here we go. Oh. All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to point out about this chapter? Or
No. So for talking finances.
Yeah, right. The foolishness.
And I'm glad the wedding is behind us.
Yes. And I was looking forward to getting into all new content anyway.
Yeah.
We needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that in my life because the wedding stuff. I love David. David loves me. We're getting married. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, I'm happy for you, Christine, but I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I feel like we put a nice bow on that, and now we get to see Christine and David. People were getting so annoyed with like just the giddiness of it all, and I mean, I don't think anyone's begrudging Christine her happiness, but it was like, okay, we get it. And now we get to see Christine and David just be a married couple doing married life. And I find them quite enjoyable like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with them having it over and done with now. Because to me, watching them get married, like in the coverage that they had on Sister Wives, is like when you go to work and your friend at work has a baby and they come in with their baby pictures. Like the first couple of times, like, oh wow, this is great. It's so cute. Okay, all right. But like, look, he's breathing. Like, okay, 3 months later, he's still excited. I get it. Like, it's great, man. But come on, like, I've seen like 1,000 pictures already. I'm ready to move on. So I'm kind of in that place. But
what do you have coming out this week?
That's what I was going to ask you. Tomorrow I will be on with doing a live with Notes to Self 444.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're finally able to connect. That'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock Mountain Time, MST. So
I will tune in. That's awesome.
Yeah, we should have a good conversation. It should be fun. What do you have popping? What do you have going on? Of course, videos this week, but what do you have going on?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking Robin's main character syndrome because it is so obnoxious. We have to talk about it. definitely going to touch on the finances and just the swindling of it all.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch you with notes to self. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be some fun. Like I think that they have some really good points and some definitely have some different insights because they come from that same brood of
Yeah.
faith. So it'll be interesting to hear their points of view. The funny thing about it though is that I've been listening to them for a little bit, and some of their perspectives are very similar to a lot of what the fandom is already saying. So it's not as like crazy, like it's not as outside, like because I think that as outsiders, we always kind of take the position that, oh, well, we're on the outside and we don't necessarily understand what they understand on the inside, but they understand a lot of this stuff. They understand a lot more than folks give them credit for understanding.
Yeah.
Just as a little inside baseball, the one of the prophet's wives is actually in the process of a divorce currently, and so they have that insight kind of flowed into a lot of what they're talking about as well. So we'll be having a good conversation tomorrow. Might
Awesome.
not be all sister wives, but it'll definitely be heavy sister wives. But I also want to talk about like polygamy in general with them. So while I have them, so we'll see.
Awesome.
Yep. But that's what we have. I want to give a huge thank you to everybody in the chat for keeping it cool, making sure everything stays flow and friendly and everything is super chill. But I also want to give a huge thank you and shout out to our mods.
Yes.
I have Lizzie B, Brittany Not Brittany, Carmel Cuties in the house. I see Tiffany H is in here with B Cat. Did I miss anybody?
I think Kendra was maybe at one point.
That's okay. Give
Yeah, I
Kendra
think
a shout out.
here. She may have had to leave, but I
Bounce.
think she was there at one point. But thank you to all of our moderators.
Yes, keeping it down because people don't understand. Like when we doing our show, it can be a little difficult to keep track of what's going on in the chat as well as do the show. So the moderators help out a huge amount. They're lifesavers. Yeah. So I want to give them a little something as appreciation. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate the mods. So this is for you guys. And that's what we have. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Like I said, make sure you check and subscribe to our channels. Hit that like button because that way we know that you're actually digging what we're doing, and it helps with everything, all the YouTube stuff and all that finagle funny stuff. But it does help us know that you guys are digging what we're doing, and we appreciate it. If you're not yet subscribed to our channels, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for notification, and you will be notified when we upload new chapters or we have new episodes dropping. We're going to have like videos coming, interviews happening. Sarah has talked to Ben the Fisher King, Cody's nephew. I'll be talking to Notes to Self. We have all kinds of stuff popping on the channels, and the only way to be tied into when we drop, like especially those impromptu lives, is if you subscribe to the channel with the bell clicked on. So make sure you hit that.
Yep.
Did you have anything else?
Nope. Everyone have a good one. Stay safe out there.
Absolutely. You guys take it easy. Have a great night. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality with Sarah from Reality Squad. Have a great night, guys. Thanks so much.